Tomorrow, the Wild Center in Tupper Lake will debut a new art display. Trolls Save the Humans, I should say, is a traveling installation of larger-than-life wooden sculptures. And this morning, the Wild Center and the artist himself share their excitement over this 5-month exhibit.
Nick, as someone who has seen the trolls up close and personal, this is exciting. How long has this project been in the works?
Yeah, we've been working on this project since 2022, so it's been a long time coming. You know, when we agreed to host this exhibit 4 years ago, you know, our original slot was in 2030, and they called a couple years ago and said, "Hey, would you be willing to move up a little bit and take it in 2026?" We jumped at the opportunity, and we're thrilled. You know, to plan it for this long and finally see it come to fruition is really exciting.
And you had Thomas Dambo visit the Wild Center last fall, right?
Yeah. Part of the process of hosting the exhibit was a site visit from Thomas and his family and crew. So they were here last fall. And, you know, this is the first time his work has been exhibited in the state of New York. So for him, it was as much an introduction to the Adirondacks and to the North Country as it was to the Wild Center. And, you know, I think the story of the Adirondacks and the ethos behind it very closely matches his philosophy. So it really is a really natural fit.
He's a bit of, I mean, he's an artist, but he's an environmentalist in that this is all recycled material. This is coming from a heap of just wood that's not being used for anything else.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting part about this art installation is, yes, it's whimsical, and yes, it feels monumental to be standing in front of them, and like, yes, they are fun to like snap a selfie with.
Yeah.
But the story behind them is really serious, right? Thomas's whole goal is to, you know, make humans better stewards of the planet, and you know, to recognize the impact that we have, and by creating these gigantic trolls out of recycled material, things that he literally plucks out of a landfill. Like I said, there is a little bit of some weight that comes with it, as long as being fun and whimsical, for sure.
I want people to find them when nobody else is around. I want them to enjoy that moment. I also want them to, when they're searching for it, to see some of all the beauty that is in nature. And I want them to understand that this sculpture, this big monument, is made of trash. So that, because I think we should be more resourceful and not be so wasteful. And I hope that these giant sculptures can be a lesson where people can see the possibilities of what we can create of our trash.
They each have names too, right?
Yes, all 6 have names. All 6 have a backstory, and that's the fun part, right? Is like, you know, one of the trolls it looks like they've ripped the top off of a car and has turned it into a planter, and one of the trolls is hanging birdhouses. So for us, you know, we're able to find and curate those spots around our 115-acre campus that feel like where these trolls would naturally land, and that we can create programming around it. So it truly has infiltrated everything that we're doing on a daily basis here, not only on campus, right, but also in the programs that we're doing, and you know, the experiences that we're providing for visitors, for sure. It has allowed us to stretch our creative muscles, for sure.
When he visited the site, I guess, you know, what was the process of deciding what order they were in and where they were going to be placed, and how big he could build these things given the area?
Yeah, that's a really interesting part about the Wild Center in particular, right? Like, these trolls have traveled really all over North America at this point. I think that we're like the 8th or 9th place that have had them. Now, the places that they're typically at are like well-manicured botanical gardens or like a zoo, right? Places where they're behind, you know, essentially a velvet rope.
Yeah.
Here at the Wild Center, they truly are like hidden in the woods. So we took a walk around. We tried to find 6 places that, again, felt natural that they would land, but then also would be like you kind of stumbled upon them. So, you know, there's one in the parking lot that looks like it's ripping the car from the parking lot back into the woods, and there's another one in, you know, our Forest Music Trail, and one right underneath Wild Walk. So yes, he was very involved in the process, and really hands-on in helping to find a location for these things to be here for 5 months.
I feel really happy to be invited to the Wild Center and create one of my works here, because I think that the values of the Wild Center and the values of my art They just overlap like perfectly. It's a beautiful place, and I have a mission of putting one in each state of the United States, and I don't have one in New York yet.
He's done 100, I think, and 71 of these, over 170 of them, nearly 200 of them. They're on 5 of 7 continents, but as we talked about, there are none in New York. So this has got to be an attraction that will bring people to the Wild Center that may not have typically planned a trip to you guys in Tupper Lake, right?
Yeah, I think that that's the exciting opportunity at our feet that, the staff are really thrilled to jump at. I can tell you already anecdotally, just from pre-sale numbers and, social media comments or really phone calls, that people are planning trips from all over the country to come visit, and especially, the Northeast. Like you said, the closest troll to us right now is, whether it be in Maine, an 8-hour drive, or, Rhode Island, a 6-hour drive. So people are coming from all over the place. And like I said, we're fielding questions about where should I stay and what should I do. So that's the exciting part, is to introduce a whole new group of people, not only to the Wild Center and our mission, but also to, how beautiful this part of the world is, and really show off what we do really well. And I think that that's the most exciting thing about this project.
You have a chance to get a permanent troll there.
Yep.
What needs to happen for that to happen?
Yeah, that's the number one question that we get, I would say, is what happens to these trolls after the 5 months, and could one potentially stay? And, these trolls have a new home after they leave the Wild Center. They have a destination that they'll be off to, but there is mutual interest on the Wild Center's part, and quite frankly on Thomas's part, to make the Wild Center home to the first permanent troll in New York State. We do need some support to make that happen, so we're actively fundraising to make that project happen. If folks are interested, there's opportunities to donate here on site and support that project, but also on our website as well. So, we have our fingers crossed, and and we think that this part of the world really is the perfect home for a permanent installation. So, like I said, we are optimistic, and we look forward to the opportunity to make that happen.
And during the 6 months that they're here, you guys are going to be open every day, right?
Yeah, so we're changing operations slightly in order to accommodate the exhibit. We will be open every single day from June 1st to October 31st, and then we're going to extend hours in July and August. So typically we would close down at 5 o'clock. We're going to stay open until 7 in July and August, and that's just to provide more of an opportunity for people to see these things and interact and have a fulsome experience around the entire exhibit.
And you've got your 20th anniversary happening this year too. So kind of
that's
blends well with this.
For sure. We're taking the entire year to celebrate 20-year anniversary, obviously being headlined by the Trolls presence here on campus. But, we're going to strew events throughout the year. On July 11th, we're inviting everybody onto campus for a free admission to celebrate our 20th anniversary, right? We're going to have a concert headlined by Martin Sexton, the singer-songwriter. He actually was here in 2006 to open the museum back then. But a whole bunch of drop-in activities and ways to celebrate the last 20 years of work that we've done here.
As Nick mentioned, the Wild Center is going to be open every day starting tomorrow through October 31st. Extended hours from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in July and August. There's going to be a July 4th Troll Trot 5K. It's a 9 a.m. start on that Saturday morning for a run past all 6 trolls. How cool is that? Troll Tuesdays will happen in July and August with live music, crafts, workshops, and a spotlight on the trolls. If that sounds like fun to you, you can go to wildcenter.org/tickets.